Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Seattle Kraken prospect Ty Nelson. Welcome back to the show, man. It's good to see you.
Thanks, you as well.
I mean, this is the first time you're on the show as a member of the Seattle Kraken. I think last time we talked was before you got drafted. We talked about kind of your experience, kind of getting into the draft and everything. Development camp's always going to be kind of intimidating at first because you go in and there's so many players that are drafted to the organization, people kind of trying to get signed and everything. Overall, good dev camp for you this year?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, especially coming in as a second year guy now at dev camp, it's a lot easier. You know the staff, you know the arena, that sort of thing. So it makes it a lot more comfortable for yourself. But yeah, no, it was a great dev camp. Just went in, tried to learn as much as I could, and then obviously work hard and impress. So it was great.
We're gonna go back to the draft quickly. Obviously, I couldn't talk about it. You wore a pretty fantastic hat at the draft. Tell me about that. What was the kind of decision with wearing that hat?
Yeah, so it was actually my billet dad who got it for me. I was down in Buffalo getting my suit fitted down there, and I sent him a sneak beat of the suit, like the little pattern thing that was coming, that it was. So I sent it to him, and then I guess he's a big Montreal fan. So I guess like Cole Caulfield and a bunch of these guys were wearing these hats, and so he's like, "This is perfect. I'm getting it for the draft." And it just happened to match the suit perfectly, happened to match the Kraken perfectly, and it was sick because he surprised me at a like kind of a draft party in Montreal with the owners of the company. So they brought it down to surprise me with it. So it was really sick.
That's really awesome. And I mean, everyone was talking about the hat on social media. Like everyone was talking about it. You weren't that surprised though. It's a nice hat.
It's hard not to talk about it. That thing's pretty sick. I can't lie.
Oh man, I love the honesty. I want to kind of know Dev Camp, even last year's Dev Camp and this year's. I mean, like what specifically this time around? Like, there's obviously like events that you're doing together. I know you and Shane were doing some of the sporting events in town as well. But like, what were the stuff you guys were doing on kind of the downtime of the Dev Camp specifically? What were you guys watching? What were you guys playing? Any video games? Like, what was that like specifically?
Yeah, I mean it was great. For us, we kind of like we went out and kind of did some stuff. We played some euchre, card games, and then for us, we went out almost all the nights. So, like we went to different places. We went to the Mariners game one night. We went to the beach one day. Like July 4th, we were at the beach pretty much all day, and like so it was sick. But myself, I was watching. I was watching the rest of Animal Kingdom. So I watched it like the first three seasons when it came out, and I didn't know another two came out. Or sorry, the first four seasons and then the last two, and then I started this new show. It's the Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah, it's great
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So I started watching that, and I'm hooked on that right now. So I've been I finished Animal Kingdom there probably not too long ago, but a week ago, and then I just got into Mayor of Kingstown now.
Mayor of Kingstown, you love your Taylor Sheridan. You're a big Yellowstone guy, so I just
yes, absolutely.
No, no, it's so great and everything. Was there any? Like, I mean, there was Dev Camp games and everything. Who was doing the music in the rooms between the kind of the practices and the Dev Camps? Were you doing that? I know you're pretty. Yeah. I was about to say it's probably you, right?
Yeah, I did it, and then they also had, I think they had like the team like music thing going on too for a bit. So I took it for the most of the times, but as we were kind of split up when I had to go on like the ice or whatever. The team has like an iPod for music and stuff connected, so they would rip that while I was on the ice.
You're wearing kind of the Kraken, jersey in, Dev Camp and everything. You're putting on that logo. How motivated does that get you to put on that logo in an official NHL game? Like, it must be the most motivation ever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you grow up, like you want to do this for your whole life, and then you get drafted, and it's like, it's a practice jersey, but it's like it's one step closer. And I mean, it's like weird the way you put it, but it's like when you go up there, your game just elevates to another level because you want it so bad. And it's like it's really cool to see how like everybody turns it up and like elevates their game because everybody wants to make the next level. So we just really push each other like all week or however long you're there for to make each other better.
I find it interesting as well because I feel like last time we spoke, you love the pressure. We talked about this. I don't know if you remember that. You enjoy pressure.
Yeah.
You strive under pressure. I don't think there's any more pressure than being drafted first overall at a certain point in your career. I mean, you were drafted first overall in the OHL draft. Is that like cool to have that kind of pressure that everyone's going to be talking about that forever? Like that kind of is like that is fuel, so to speak, if you think about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I'm sure I said it the same way when we last talked about it. I like to turn the pressure into motivation.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't like to think that I have pressure on me. It's just I know I'm gonna go out there and do my thing and play the best of my abilities, and that's all I can do. So
Yeah.
I for myself, I don't really look at it as for like pressure. It's motivation.
Absolutely. Would you say that naturally, like sometimes, I mean, you have a certain way you play hockey. You're, a two-way defenseman and everything. Do you feel like sometimes your game gets kind of transitioned a little bit, or it's a little different now than it was in junior? Or do you still have kind of the game that you had for many years? Like, I feel like naturally, like sometimes you just have your wheelhouse. Sometimes it kind of naturally adapts a little bit, depending on what the team wants.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the, being a player, you got to do whatever it takes. It's going to get you to the NHL faster.
Yeah.
And just kind of what they've been preaching to me is just keep doing my thing.
Yeah.
And keep getting better, keep getting stronger, keep getting faster, and do all those things, and then that'll just kind of translate at the next level because obviously they drafted. It's like every team, they draft you for a certain reason, and that's the reason why you've gotten yourself to being drafted.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want you to change that just because to fit into the team. I think obviously they draft for what they need for their team, so they drafted you for a purpose. So I believe that's how they want you to play, and that's what they've been telling me.
Absolutely. You have a lot of kind of tasks on your career as on your path as a professional hockey player in the National Hockey League. There's a lot of off ice, there's a lot of on ice duties, obviously, trying to make your team win, doing what's best for the team and everything. Kind of like you said, adapt your game. But there's also off ice responsibilities. And you've been on the show 3 times right now. And one thing that I've kind of noticed about you specifically is we talked about you kind of your advocacy and your importance to use your social media platforms, but you are Ty Nelson is a kind person at a time where we need a lot of kindness at a time like that. How important is that kind of aspect for you specifically as you're on your road being a pro hockey player, specifically the kind of component off the ice as well?
No, absolutely, and I think honestly, it's something that can really just make someone feel comfortable and help them become a better version of themselves. Like I know for myself last year, I went into main camp, and this is my first ever main camp. Like you're training with all the guys that are in the NHL. Like you're in line next to Jordan Everly. The guy's been in the show for like 10 plus years now. Like this guy's grizzled, and it's like it's intimidating. But I mean, it just took like he's such a kind guy, and then even for Daniel Sprong, like we became really close because he was in the hotel where we were at, and it's just like they shown that kindness, and it made me so much more comfortable, and it allowed me to be myself and play the way that I know I can. So I think it's something that everyone should do, and I know I really try to do because I learned from my experience there that if you're comfortable, you're going to play at your best and you're not worried about these other things that may be going through your head. But if someone's being kind and talking to you, having a conversation like that, it really tends to calm someone down.
And you also see it at the OHL level as well with the community component of it and the fans, and it's so tight knit as well. That's where I feel like you really start to see it, right, Ellie?
Oh, yes, especially in junior. I mean, like you look at some teams that have fans that are super loud, some teams that don't. And I think for us in North Bay is that we got really, really involved in the community this year. And it's fantastic because then the whole community gets behind us. And it's something like you saw it in our playoff games. Like we're not the London or the Kitchener that hold 9,000, but we hold 42,000. 4,200, and probably almost as loud as they were, just because of the passionate fans.
Absolutely. And you're pretty loud. They mic'd you up there again. I feel like that's a tradition now. They're always going to mic you up in warm-ups, eh?
Yeah, I think so.
Do they tell you like when you show up, by the way, you're getting mic'd? You're like, okay, yeah. Is that what happens?
No, like they gave me a day's notice. So like they told me the day before we played our game, and they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna mic you up. So they're like, come see me in the morning. And then I was like, okay. So then that morning I had to go do something. I had to go do a few things with some of the staff there. So I didn't end up getting to see the lady who told me that she's gonna mic me up, because I got back maybe a half hour before we had to go on the ice. So I completely forgot, and they just threw it in my equipment. Like it was already in my shoulder pads, everything.
Yeah.
So then I go out on the ice, just having fun and stuff. And then they're like, oh, can we get the mic? And I was like, oh my God. Like I totally forgot. But yeah, sorry, no. One of the guys saw it in second intermission, and they're like, you didn't tell anyone you were mic'd up? I was like, I totally forgot. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Oh, absolutely. No, that was all over the Kraken social media. It was good stuff. Nelly, always a pleasure catching up, man. Thank you so much for your time, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's still, is it Kid Nelly 24 on Instagram?
It's kid_Nelly24.
Okay, I was close. And all the best on your path to being a pro hockey player, man. Seriously, man, all the best. And like I said, man, just keep being that kind person you are. I think that I honestly think that goes a long way.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Will do.
Well, it's been Pop Turner, youtube.com/Pop Turner for previous episodes. Until next time, this is PD Beats and Seattle Kraken prospect Ty Nelson signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Turnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Pop Turnative on YouTube. Be sure to like Pop Turnative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.